Why is Danny Masterson, the beloved actor from That 70s Show, still behind bars, even after more than a year since his conviction? His legal battle has shocked the world, but there's much more to the story than meets the eye. Today, we'll uncover the real reason Danny Masterson is still serving time. And it's not just about the crimes he committed. From power plays by influential figures to the delayed justice that left victims silenced for years, this case goes far beyond a simple trial. Stick with us as we unravel the truth and explore the untold story behind Masterson's conviction and the fight for justice that's still unfolding. Danny Masterson, born March 13, 1976 in Long Island, New York, seemed destined for fame. He was no stranger to the spotlight from a young age, having worked as a model and in commercials by the age of 5. But it was his role as the sarcastic, rebellious Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show that catapulted him into stardom. The show ran for 8 successful seasons, making Masterson a household name. Off-camera, Masterson's life appeared just as charmed. He transitioned from sitcom success to a burgeoning film career, and soon he had a wide range of opportunities in both TV and film. But little did fans know, lurking behind the bright lights of Hollywood, a dark secret was waiting to be uncovered. While Masterson enjoyed fame, another far more troubling aspect of his life remained hidden. The actor was a devoted member of the Church of Scientology, which plays a pivotal role in this case. In fact, 2 of the women who would later accuse Masterson of rape were also members of the church at the time of the assaults. The allegations against Masterson began surfacing in 2004, but were buried by the power of the Church of Scientology. The victims claimed that not only were they sexually assaulted by Masterson, but they also faced intense harassment and intimidation when they tried to speak out. They alleged that the church, seeking to protect one of its high-profile members, engaged in covert efforts to silence them, including stalking, tampering with security systems, and even attempting to run them off the road. The power of the church didn't stop there. It allegedly obstructed the investigation for years. As the victims fought for justice, the church's legal team intervened, using its vast resources to delay the process. It wasn't until 2020 that the case finally gained traction, nearly 2 decades after the assaults took place. But by then, the victims had already been forced to endure years of harassment and legal hurdles. In 2023, after years of legal battles and public pressure, the case finally went to trial. For many, this was a moment of justice. Masterson was found guilty of raping 2 women in 2003. The conviction came after a tense legal battle, with the defense attempting to discredit the victims and paint the case as one built on questionable allegations. But the jury didn't buy it. Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. For many, it felt like a long-awaited moment of justice. But what came next surprised everyone. Masterson's defense team filed an appeal almost immediately, seeking to overturn the conviction. This move raised even more questions. Could someone like Masterson, with his power and connections, still find a way out of prison? Masterson's appeal is the critical turning point in this saga. His lawyers argue that the trial was flawed, citing procedural errors and possible legal oversights that could have compromised the verdict. They're asking the courts to re-examine the case, and if the appeal is successful, Masterson could be released much sooner than expected. But let's be clear, appeals in high-profile cases are notoriously difficult to win. Even with a legal team working hard to find loopholes, the evidence against Masterson is overwhelming. The jury was presented with clear testimony from the victims and substantial supporting evidence that tied Masterson to the crimes. However, the appeal process could still take years. The legal battle might drag on for a while, meaning Masterson will remain in prison for the foreseeable future, waiting for a court to decide whether he gets another shot at freedom. One of the most disturbing aspects of this case is the role that the Church of Scientology played in trying to silence the victims and delay justice. As one of the most powerful and controversial organizations in the world, Scientology has been accused of using its influence to protect its members, even when they are accused of serious crimes. During the trial, it was revealed that Masterson's defense attorneys had illegally leaked confidential material to the church's lawyers. This leak included sensitive information about the victims, including their addresses. The church then used this information to discredit the victims and launch a campaign against the lead prosecutors in the case. It's a chilling reminder of the lengths powerful institutions will go to protect their own. The church's involvement raised serious ethical and legal questions. The question remains, how many more people have been silenced by the church's influence? Masterson's conviction has had devastating consequences on his personal life. In 2023, his wife of over a decade, Bijou Phillips, filed for divorce. She cited irreconcilable differences and requested full legal and physical custody of their child. This marked a turning point in Phillips' life, as she not only dealt with the emotional fallout from her husband's actions, but also had to navigate the overwhelming media attention that came with his conviction. The divorce wasn't the only blow Masterson faced. His former That 70s Show co-stars, including Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, were forced to publicly apologize for their previous support of Masterson. Fans and critics alike questioned their involvement in Masterson's defense. While Kutcher and Kunis had spoken out in Masterson's favor before his conviction, they were later forced to retract those statements and express regret. As of today, Masterson remains behind bars at California Men's Colony, a high-security facility. He won't be eligible for parole until at least 2049, meaning he could serve most of his life in prison. But the appeal remains his last chance for freedom, and with his legal team fighting tooth and nail, the case is far from over. Will the courts uphold his conviction, or will Masterson walk free after serving just a fraction of his sentence? His appeal has placed everything in limbo. The outcome could affect the future of his career, his family, and most importantly, the lives of the victims who have already waited so long for justice. Here's the catch. The victims who survived Masterson's abuse didn't just face the trauma of the assaults, they also had to endure a prolonged, exhausting battle for justice. Masterson, a powerful celebrity, was able to delay the inevitable, but time is running out. The real question now is, will his appeal succeed? And if it does, how will justice truly be served? The fallout of this case is still unfolding. Masterson may be behind bars now, but the impact of his actions and the power dynamics at play continue to ripple throughout the legal system, Hollywood, and the Scientology community. The church's manipulation and the influence it held over the trial's process will likely have long-term effects on how these cases are handled in the future. And while Masterson remains in prison, his victims can only hope that the system will finally give them the justice they deserve. For now, we wait for the final decision on his appeal, but one thing is certain. This case has changed everything for the women who survived his abuse, and it's far from over. The key turning point will be when the court finally rules on Masterson's appeal. Will the decision affirm the conviction, sending Masterson to serve the full 30 years, or will the appeal overturn the conviction, allowing him a chance at freedom? This is the moment that will define the outcome of the case, and it's coming sooner than you think. At the end of the day, Danny Masterson's case is a complex, multi-layered story of power, abuse, and the fight for justice. The victims have waited long enough, but the battle isn't over yet. Whether or not Masterson spends the rest of his life in prison depends on the outcome of his appeal. But even if he does, the scars left by his actions will be felt for years to come. So, what do you think? Should Masterson be given a second chance, or is justice being served? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, like this video if you found it informative, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this case and others. We're just getting started in uncovering the full story. Until then, take care, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video. Remember, justice is a long road, but it's worth fighting for.